What's up everyone, and welcome back to the EvolvedJeepin channel. This video is actually the first video to the Color This Jeep vinyl wrap project. If you're unfamiliar about what this project is, make sure to click on the link above to watch the introductory video to find out what I am trying to achieve and how this project is going to work. In summary, we're trying to create a Jeep that is inspired by the Harlequin Volkswagen Golf. The idea is that we're going to vinyl wrap every panel of this Jeep a different color. But the twist is I am not going to be choosing what color. You guys are actually going to be submitting your votes on what color each panel will be. And in fact, I've already collected the votes for the first two panels, which are the passenger front door and the driver's side rear door. And in this video, I'm going to announce what the colors are going to be, as well as who was chosen as the lucky person to have their name put on the panel as the person who chose that color. I'm also going to be announcing what panels we're going to be voting on next. But before I do any of that, we need to go ahead and wrap the panels. So as you can see behind me, I've already removed the passenger front door. And the reason is because today is a fairly warm day in Yonkers, New York. And I figured it would be pretty painful to wrap these two panels in this warm garage. So because these are both doors, I figured I'd take them off, take them up to my apartment and wrap them in the AC. This would make for a more pleasurable experience as well as a less sweaty one. For anybody who wants to know how to remove the doors, all you need to do is go inside the car, disconnect the power cable, which is behind the panel, then disconnect the stopping bracket, which is a single bolt, then remove the two bolts from the hinges on the outside, and then you can remove the door. I highly recommend that you roll down the window to make it easier to lift the door off the hinges. So at this point, what I need to do is I need to go ahead and remove that other door and then take it up to the apartment so that I can begin the wrapping process. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do a time lapse of the wrapping process so that you guys can see the steps I took. I'm also going to highlight some key elements throughout that process. For example, I'm going to highlight removing the door handles, the hinges, and the mirror, because those are things I've not shown on the channel, and they're pretty important steps to be able to properly wrap these panels. I'm also going to be showing this time lapse in black and white, and the reason is because I don't want to give away the color just yet. You'll have to tune in for when I put the doors back on the Jeep to find out what colors were chosen. So guys, I'm just gonna dive right into getting that door off, and I'll see you guys when we're ready to put the door back on the Jeep. that was a lot of work. But overall, it was actually very satisfying and kind of relaxing. One thing I'm very thankful of is the fact that I was doing 2 of the doors, and I was actually able to take them up to my apartment and do them in the AC. Because even in the AC, I was getting a little bit warm. So I can only imagine if I had to do it in this garage in this extreme warm weather, how miserable that would have been. I did face some challenges during the vinyl wrapping process, but that was not unexpected because this is the first time I'm wrapping a full Jeep. And with every panel, I'm probably gonna face a new challenge that will help me develop my skills. This is actually one of the main reasons I'm doing this project, because not only did I want to give my Jeep a unique look, but I also wanted to develop my vinyl wrapping skills. And in fact, I've already seen a little bit of an improvement because the second door that I did is slightly better than the first one. And I can imagine that by the time I finish this project and wrap the final panel, my skills at vinyl wrapping will have greatly improved. Okay guys, I'll stop delaying this any longer. I know that at this time, all you really want to know is what colors were chosen for the first 2 panels. Well, for the front passenger door, the color that was voted on is red. And as you see, it looks kind of cool and it looks kind of weird at the same time. The reason I feel like it looks weird is because right now, all it is a red door on a white Jeep, and it doesn't really make sense. But as we start to wrap more and more of the panels, the overall design is going to start to come together and we'll be able to see what the end result is going to be. As for the wrap itself, this turned out really well. This was the first panel that I did, so it definitely is not perfect. There were some things that I learned from this panel that I was able to add to my skill set before I wrapped the second door. The wrapping procedure was not the difficult part. It was more the finishing details that were the challenge. One of the things that was really easy to do was to remove the handles, the lock, the mirrors, and the hinges. That was fairly straightforward, as you saw in the time lapse. For the hinges, you can see I did end up vinyl wrapping them. At first, I was actually going to just replace them with some black hinges, but I figured I'd give it a shot and see what it turned out. And I have to say, it looks really good. I think they're better than doing them in black. The finishing on them might not be as good as a professional wrapper, but for myself, I think it's acceptable, especially because the hinges I have already have corrosion occurring on them, so they aren't already smooth to begin with. One thing I did not show in the time lapse is that I also had to wrap the bottom hinge part right here, which was actually attached to the Jeep. So I ended up doing that off camera in the garage, but the process for that is similar to the hinges. You just have to take your time and do it with some patience. You can see that I still have the white bolts on here. I could go ahead and vinyl wrap these, but what I've done is I've actually ordered some black bolts to replace them with, which should be showing up later today. I could still end up vinyl wrapping the bolts, but I want to see what the black bolts look like first before I decide to wrap them. One more thing I'm going to do for every vinyl wrapped panel is I'm actually going to end up ceramic coating them. From what I read online, it is important to ceramic coat your vinyl wrap because vinyl wrap is not as durable as paint and it does wear out easier. So by applying ceramic coating, you can extend the lifespan of the vinyl wrap. So every time we go ahead and wrap another panel, we also will be ceramic coating each panel as we go. Now that you know what color this panel is, I now have to let you know who was chosen as the lucky person to have their name put on the panel as the person who chose the color. As you can see, there's no label on the panel, and that is because I'm still waiting for the small vinyl plotter that I ordered to arrive. Once I get that, I'll be able to make the label and apply it. I'm also trying to figure out what finish to do the label in. I want the label to be more of an Easter egg rather than something that's clearly visible. So what I'm thinking is I actually might do the label in the same color as the panel so that it is more of just a raised section rather than a clear black label or white label. I'm also thinking I might use maybe a clear matte sticker so that the label would be matte on the gloss panels. Both options could work. I'm not sure which one is going to be my option yet, so you have to stay tuned to see what I end up doing. For the label placement, I'm really unsure on what I'm going to do. but I know I want to make it nice and small, so maybe something like this big. And I actually might put them in different places on the panels. So it's more of like a hunt to find it. So maybe this one might end up being like vertical here, or maybe up on top of the door. It's really gonna be kind of a random situation, but I think that'll be a little bit fun because at least they won't be visible and it'll be more of a, oh, who picked this panel? And you can find it. I think that would be kind of cool. So at this point, I gotta tell you who was selected for this one, and that was King Kong _ this. So once I get that plotter, I'll put his name on this panel, and most likely I'll end up showing that in the next video because I need to figure out how that plotter works before I can start sticking things onto this panel. So guys, as you know and saw in the time-lapse video, I actually ended up wrapping 2 panels on the Jeep. The second panel is actually on the driver's side, and it is the rear door. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to flip the Jeep around, and then I'm gonna show you guys what color you ended up choosing for that second panel. And the color is green. This color is pretty intense, and I can't wait to see it side by side with some of the other colors to see how it all goes together. The wrapping this panel was a little bit better, I want to say, and that's mainly due to the practice I had with the first panel. The finishing details on this panel are definitely a little bit better, and I can't wait to see how my skills continue to grow as I continue to wrap more and more panels on this Jeep. Now that you know the winning color of this, I now have to tell you who was selected as the lucky person to have their name put on this panel as the person who chose the color. The winner is B_Hurricane. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. I'm not the greatest with names, so hopefully I didn't screw it up that bad. But you are the lucky person to have their name put on this panel. So as soon as I get that plotter and figure out the finish I want to go with, your name will also be added to this panel. Now that we've wrapped the first 2 panels on the Jeep, we're now going to start collecting the votes for the next 2 panels. The first panel that we're going to be collecting the votes on is the passenger rear body. So that's gonna start right at this seam right here. It's gonna go across here, up the B pillar to the top of the hardtop, then back down. We're gonna go under the door, between the door and the fender. We're gonna go all the way across here, and then it's gonna end right here. This will not include the fender. That will be a separate piece, but that is the first panel. The next panel that we're gonna be voting on is the front driver's side body panel. That is this panel right here between the hood and the fender that goes down over on this whole area here and then ends right there. This is a lot smaller of a section, but this is the front body panel on the driver's side. As we did with the previous panels, we'll be hosting the voting polls on an Instagram story on the EvolvedJeepin page. All you have to do is click on the link below, watch the story, and then submit your color choice for the panel. The voting poll for the first panel will go live as soon as this video launches, and it will run until Wednesday. The second voting poll will actually be posted on Tuesday. The reason I'm overlapping them is I need this process to run a little bit quicker because I now have an important deadline in August, and I'm hoping to have this project either completed or very close to completed so that I can show it off. One thing I want to mention before we wrap this video up is that we are still running the first giveaway for this project. The prize for the first giveaway is a $100 gift card to Daydona's Enterprise, where you can use that to purchase any aftermarket part through them or use it for any service you would like them to do for you. This giveaway is only going to run until the 4th panel has been wrapped, which means there is only 2 more panels to go. So make sure to submit your entry today. To submit your entry, all you have to do is click on the link below, which will take you to our Instagram post for the giveaway. And there are 3 requirements. The first requirement is you have to have at least voted for at least one of the 4 polls for which color one of the 4 panels should be. The second requirement is you have to follow EvolvedJeepin and Daydona's Enterprise. And then the last requirement is you have to simply comment below on that post and tag 3 people. Very simple to do, so make sure to submit your entry today so you have a chance at winning that $100 prize. So guys, at this time, I don't really have anything else to say, and I'm gonna wrap this video up. If you have any questions or comments about the vinyl wrapping that I did, feel free to post it below, and I'll do the best to answer it as soon as I can. I am also possibly thinking about rebranding this Jeep. So instead of being Rubicon, I'm thinking about putting a custom name there that relates to the project that we are working on. I have a few ideas that I think would work, but I'd love to hear if you guys have any suggestions. So if you do have a suggestion, post it below. As a reminder, guys, there will be 2 polls being posted on the Instagram page, so make sure to follow it so that you can submit your vote on what color each of the panels should be. Also, make sure to submit your entry into the giveaway so that when the giveaway occurs, you have a chance to win that $100 gift card to Daydona's Enterprise. As usual, guys, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Keep evolving, and we'll see you guys on the next video.